Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome to another painting. This time we got into some of the little surreal stuff. I like doing my surreal paintings. Surreal paintings are images, of course, that come out of your mind that you don't have a direct reference to look at and try to paint from. One thing I've always said is I try to make viewers see beyond what their eyes actually see. Try to figure out what's going on. This is a kind of a simple piece, but a complex idea. It's a figure with of course, a mouth on his back. I called it Backbiter. So I'm going through doing all the flesh tones. Again, as I explained before, this one I think I used an actual flesh tone colored acrylic paint that I have. Daler and Rowney is the paints that I use to give them an ad. But it's one of the better quality paints at a very good price if you can find them. Daler and Rowney. As far as their coverage capability, they cover very well. It's a very good blending paint, and they cover very well. I mean, you have to keep painting over areas to hide the canvas. So this, I began with, again, a flesh tone paint, and I mixed several variations of it to do my medium tone, light tone, and dark tone by blending in some alizarin crimson, some burnt umber for the darker areas, and some titanium white for the lighter areas. I think I put a little cad yellow in it as well, just to lighten it up just a bit, give it some glow. But this is what I'm doing. I'm going through the different parts of the body and doing my medium, light, and dark tones as I go through, so I can see this guy take shape and form, actually giving him some depth. This is one we did on stream several years ago. It's kind of a I don't know, not an alarming piece, but it certainly has some catch to it when you see it. And again, my figures aren't anatomically perfect. I don't mean them to be, or I don't have the technical capability to make them anatomically perfect, but it doesn't matter. This character is the actor on the stage. He is the main point of interest that's going on here. And as long as you can see, that it is a person, that it is something unique about him, of course, going on, then I've made my story come true. I've relayed the image that I want to relay, and it's what I see. It's what I envisioned in my head. I think Vincent van Gogh said, I dream my paintings, then I paint my dreams. I'm not going to say I dream about this stuff totally, but it's certainly, you have to go into your mind to find these images. And you'll see in the future, a lot of the things that I will post are certainly images out of my mind. This isn't something that somebody posed for, obviously. This is something that was in my head, and I just keep working until I reach the point or the goal of what I saw in my head. And I generally start with, I have a little sketchbook, and I'll sit and I'll do sketches and renderings and come up with ideas, combining different elements, and a part that doesn't belong with another part that you go, why are these two elements together? Well, that's surreal. That's what surreal painting is about. It's combining images that don't necessarily belong together. I mean, you can mix a cat and a cucumber, and try to make a painting out of that. How do you make a cat and a cucumber in the same painting? You're blending elements that don't necessarily belong. And that's what catches your attention. I mean, if I painted an apple and hung it in a gallery, somebody would walk by and say, well, obviously that's an apple. It's a nice apple. It looks good. It portrays what it's supposed to be. But what if I took that apple and made it surreal? Made it half apple, half worm, let's say. So it's an apple worm. Well, now it's something different. And as a viewer of art, or somebody that's looking at the piece, they would go through and they say, oh, this is different. This is something that I'm not expecting to see. You know, all these other paintings are apples, but this one is quite different. Well, it makes them stop just that much longer and observe the painting. And that's what I try to do. I try to go through and make you stop for a second and look at it and go, what is going on here? A lot of my surreal paintings have kind of like deep messages in them. You'll see some of those in the future. Again, they have, you know, deep messages or deep ideas, or a lot of them come from my own life. They come from my upbringing or my life, or how I'm living at that present time, what I'm thinking or believing. And the messages come through in those. Or they're social events that are happening, political events that are happening. So I try to convey those in the painting, and I make you stop just for a second to say, what's the message here? Sometimes you get it, sometimes people don't. I don't mind explaining it, but I also like leaving it up to the interpretation of the viewer. I'll let them look at it and say, I think this is what's going on. This is a very interesting message in this painting. I had a lot of fun doing this one. This was actually one I had on my sketchbook for probably a couple of years, and I just never tackled it. One day I said, you know what, I'm gonna tackle this painting, and I'm gonna try to make it work. So I decided on the stream one day to let the viewers see this thing happen. A lot of times on my streams I would paint, and then they wouldn't get to see the finished painting because, you know, I'd spend 4 hours on it and then another 4 hours on it, and then I would finish it off stream, and it's like, they didn't get to see the finish of this thing. Well, this is one that I had beginning to end of exactly what was going on with this thing. Putting in some background. Kind of finished my form now, so now I'm going to give him a stage. Sometimes I paint the stage after the main actor. Sometimes I paint the stage first. So now I'm just giving it a background. Got some nice kind of like bluish green color for my background. I'm working that in. Little shadows, little highlights. A couple little details, touching up some things, sharpening those edges. That's nice. And get some shadow underneath. And then we'll do the rest of the background. Get that all in there. Well, there you go, guys. That's another finished piece. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back again, see some future pieces. I'll try to do another surreal one next time. Take care.